All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming to join us here. This will be a really, really interesting session with a number of different countries from across Africa and across Asia that's represented here today. We're going to be talking about South-South collaboration on AI policy. One of the things I want to mention is that this is a group that has been doing South-South collaboration on AI policy for over 5 years now. So my name is Rachel Adams. I'm the CEO of the Global Center on AI Governance, and we have been working together with GIZ from Germany and the Human Sciences Research Council from South Africa in supporting a very dynamic network of leaders working on AI policy from 5 African countries, from Indonesia and from India, to think about how working together we can learn from one another and develop meaningful and effective AI policy solutions that work for Southern countries and Southern contexts. So it's my pleasure to be moderating this panel today. We've got a number of speakers, so I'm going to move quickly and introduce our keynote speaker, Wolfgang Bungarten, who is the Senior Policy Officer within the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. He'll be giving a few opening remarks to set the tone. Thank you, Wolfgang.
Good morning. Hello. Oh, good morning. Well, dear Dr. Adams, dear members of the Africa-Asia AI Policymaker Network, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to this panel discussion on South-South collaboration in AI policymaking. This session brings together 7 members of the Africa-Asia AI Policymaker Network, so we will have the privilege to hear 7 perspectives on AI governance from 7 different countries. I believe that it's quite unique. But let me start by thanking Dr. Rachel Adams and her team from the Global Center on AI Governance for hosting and organizing this event, as well as Paul Platinga and his team of the South African Human Science Research Council for their strong support. And of course, I would like to thank our panelists who have agreed to share their perspective with us today, and especially Mrs. Rama Devi Lanka from Niti Aayog from the Indian government. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you might wonder what exactly is the Africa AI Policymaker Network? What does it do and what is so special about it? Well, imagine you work for an African or Asian government or a government agency, and it is your responsibility to draft a new AI regulation policy. This is a very important and a very challenging task, right? So how would you approach it? What would your first step be? Well, you could start by looking around you. How does the regulatory framework of other countries look like, of your neighbors, of other countries in your region or even beyond? You can draw inspiration from their AI strategies, legal texts, policies, directives. But there's just one problem. These documents, they cannot talk to you. They won't tell you how they came into existence, how the overall process looked like, and which stakeholders were consulted. They won't tell you which choices had to be made and why certain decisions were taken. And they won't tell you which part are rather country specific and which are of a more general nature. So, if these documents cannot talk to you, you should talk to each other. In order to learn from the experience of others, you must enter into exchange and dialogue. And that is, in a nutshell, the very, very simple idea of the African Asia AI Policymaker Network. The network was founded in 2022, bringing together officials from 7 different countries: Ghana, India, Indonesia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, and Uganda. The German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development has supported the network right from the start by providing the structures required to organize itself and by providing the resources for capacity building and in-person exchanges. And in fact, we are very proud of what the network has achieved so far. It has evolved into an influential platform and a cross-border community that strengthens collaboration between Africa and Asia. It has become an important promoter of fair and responsible AI, serving as a collective voice for policymakers, and it has produced tangible results. For example, by compiling an AI policy playbook with practical advice for AI regulators. Therefore, I would like to thank all members of the AAA Policymaker Network, many of whom are here today, for their achievements. With your work, you are contributing to making AI more equitable, transparent, inclusive, safe, and responsible. Well, let us now turn to the panel and hear from some members about their experience. They will present to us their pathway to AI governance and how they envision the partnership within the network. You will be surprised at the range of topics because there are so many aspects to AI regulation, including questions of interoperability, data exchange, sandbox management, and auditing. I'm sure the AAA Policymaker Network will not run out of topics, and that is exactly why it is so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolfgang. We'll try and keep the door closed so that everyone can hear all the exciting remarks that's going to be made today. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Odilile Ayodele, who's the Senior Research Specialist at the Human Sciences Research Council and one of the lead authors on a draft paper that's been developed with AI policy leads from across these 5 African countries and 2 Asian countries around how can South-South collaboration on AI policy work. Odilile, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do my best to stay really short because not only is the room full, I know that what the policymakers have to share today would actually enrich everybody in this room. So, distinguished colleagues, distinguished delegates, and partners, no, without a doubt, we're living in times that are a bit too interesting. And what I think a lot of us have learned that AI can't be treated as purely a technical project, and governance can't be left as a black box. What the network has showed us so far is that we need to think holistically about how to build responsive AI policy and systems. So as Rachel introduced me, I'm Odilile Ayodele from the Human Sciences Research Council, which is South Africa's statutory social science body. And our mandate is to develop policy-relevant evidence that strengthens democratic governance and supports public policy. And that's precisely why we're proud to contribute to the Policy Maker Network. And I just have to add this in before I quickly go through our key recommendations, is that the network is so important because it creates the structural bridge between evidence and decision making, ensuring that AI policy is not only technically sound, but is socially grounded and context aware, and very importantly, aligned with public interest, which actually speaks very much to the sutras of this very important summit. Now, a big reason why I'm standing here is to talk through our draft discussion document. Before this slide, there was a QR code and a link, and the link actually leads to our, oh, hopefully you can go back. The link actually leads to our draft discussion document, and we hope that you will all take the time to read it and comment on it. And as the policymakers speak in the next few minutes, they'll actually give a lot of meat to what was actually in the documents. Now, South-South cooperation, or rather the South-South cooperation agenda is no longer about development discourse. It's about being more strategic. And the key items that or key mechanism rather, where partnership really matters, we've got 6 of them. One of them being regulatory harmonization. Oh, there we go. Regulatory harmonization and mutual recognition for AI-enabled shared services and devices. I'm not going into detail because of the time. The second being joint AI skills programs and talent mobility, shared infrastructure, data exchanges, and a collaborative development model, and cross-border regulatory sandboxes and experimentation frameworks, collaborative AI audit and monitoring, policy peer exchange, advocacy, and multi-stakeholder participation. As I said, the details of it are in our draft discussion document, which we hope you engage with. And even though I've got a whole lot of cards, I'm going to stop now. I think what's important, and I'm going to leave it here, is that we have to ensure that AI the benefits of AI, as well as the risks of AI, not concentrated for a few. And it's important for the South to ensure that we're in all these conversations and also move from normative discussions to tangible practices. And with that, I'll leave it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Odilile. We're now going to spend the next part of this panel hearing from representatives from each of the countries here. These are people who have been leading AI policy development in their respective countries. They're going to talk to us a little bit about their experiences in developing AI policies for their countries and in working within this network. We really hope to be able to have a few minutes towards the end where you'll be able to ask questions. So I'm going to invite the first three speakers, I think two of which are here on at the front. Richard Chiari, welcome. Thank you so much. Richard is the Deputy Director of ICT within the National Treasury of the Government of Kenya. We also have Katsarina Adam, who is the Coordinator of Data Protection and Information Security Management within the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology of the Government of Indonesia. And my dear friend, whose name I'm going to pronounce beautifully, Cyprian Nshimiyimana, who is the Program Manager of the AI Scaling Hub within the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution within Rwanda. So Richard, if I could invite you to provide your remarks first, and then Katsarina and Cyprian after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for that kind introduction. My name is Richard Chiari. Sorry. I'm quite tall, and she's, yeah, from my country, we're quite tall. I come from Republic of Kenya, that is in East Africa, for those of you who are trying to figure out where it is in the map. And I was in charge of policy development at the Ministry of ICT in Kenya before I moved now to the National Treasury. Now, our journey in AI policy development started in earnest around 2022, and with general support from development partners like GIZ, we try to come with, we called all the stakeholders together so that we can come up with an AI policy. But it never became an AI policy because the concept was still new. And many people started saying that you want to legislate something, you want to bring rules on something which you don't even understand. So they said, let us start with the strategy first. Then we watch what other countries are doing. And that is the time now we are going out to come up with now a comprehensive policy. So in our AI strategy, one of the issues that arose was actually on the infrastructure. Do we actually have the infrastructure to support all these particular models? When we had seen so many big players coming and setting base in the country, and people are worried that this is not our solution, they are just being solutions from outside the country, and we are not really very amused. So we wanted to have our own infrastructure, or if you can share the infrastructure amongst South African countries, then that would work out better for us. The second aspect was data governance framework. Right now, we are working on a data governance policy because we realized we need to share data amongst our colleagues, our peers, not only personal data, but even data to do with agriculture, which is actually a key backbone of our economy, data to do with health, data to do with wealth, weather, all this data, and it cuts across all countries, whether it's Uganda, Rwanda, whatever it is. But we didn't have a framework for sharing that, and so we thought it was an important aspect for it. And the third aspect we talked about was about ethical and responsible and inclusive AI use. We have all seen that what AI is capable of, disinformation. We have seen all sorts of large language models coming up with all sorts of things which are really affecting even our national security and even our social infrastructure. So all those things we wanted to share and find out how can we really cooperate with other people and what are the experiences in other countries. Then among the things that we thought about in about cooperation is mainly on cross-border data transfer. I think I've alluded to that, so I don't have to take a lot of time on that. Forums for sharing best practices. We can learn from each other. Whenever we have had meetings, they have been very stormy, and many people bring a lot of issues, and sometimes we are not even able to address them. And finally, how can we set up a shared IT infrastructure? We may not have enough resources, but we know as as southern countries, South African countries, we can actually pull our resources together and we come up with AI infrastructure, which is going to solve some of our problems. I didn't want to take a lot of your time, so I had been given a few minutes, so I want to stop there and then I give my colleague another chance to talk. Thank you so much.
Sorry, because I come in a mini version, so I have to. Okay, it's okay. Okay, thank you. It is privilege to be here in Delhi. Namaste. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is true honor to be here, standing here with you all, united by a shared vision that ensuring AI serves our people's dignity and development. In Indonesia, our national roadmap 2025 till 2029 focus on 10 priority sectors, from food security to health. But we know that the heart of AI is not the code, it's the people. So this is why we launch, we call the AI Talent Factory. We've moved away from slow traditional curricula to a recruit, train, and deploy model. We focus on project-based learning to bridge the gap between education and industry. We aren't just training the coders, but we try to nurturing problem solvers who understand our local context. As we accelerate, we must remain grounded, right? So in Indonesia is currently updating our national AI ethics guidelines. For us, ethics is not a barrier to innovation. It is the guardrail that ensure our AI development remains human-centric, transparent, and respectful of our diverse cultural nation. I believe the real power of this summit is in our cooperation. So let's look beyond our border. A South-South talent hub, maybe we can imagine a shared project on tropical agriculture or regional health diagnostic, where a developer maybe in Delhi, in Bangalore, in Telangana, or in other country, and researchers in Jakarta, in Indonesia, collaborate. And also we have like proposed the micro credential recognition. Maybe we can make our digital certification portable across our nation. And also data sovereignty. Maybe we can let sing our framework. We must be able to train AI on our own terms, uh, preserving our sovereignty while embracing innovation. And also, this one is important, regulatory sandbox peer learning. Maybe we can collaborate on regulatory sandbox by sharing our safe space for testing AI. We can learn from each other's success and failures, allowing us to regulate wisely without stifling the spirit of our startup. So the story of AI is often told as a race between superpowers, but looking at this panel and the audience today, I see a different story. The future of AI is being written in here. Let's write it together. Thank you, and I look forward to learning from all of you. Dhanyavad.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cyprien. I'm from Rwanda. I'm a program manager for the AI Scaling Hub at the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm going to quickly share an overview of Rwanda's journey as far as AI policy development and implementation is concerned. And then I'll touch very briefly on some of the South-South collaboration opportunities that we've had with our partners. So for Rwanda, we really started with thinking about what is the vision for AI, what is the vision, what are opportunities, and what are some of the key enablers we can put in place to unlock those opportunities. And so the first thing that the country did was really to put in place the national AI policy, which defined the vision for Rwanda as to position the country as a global center for AI research and innovation. And we've done, lots of work to make sure that we are really like building an ecosystem where AI research and innovation can thrive. So we defined that vision, and then during the development of the AI policy, we're also thinking about what is the value for AI. So what is the economic opportunities? And so as part of the national AI policy development, we conducted a study which we called an economic and impact and social impact study of AI to try to understand the economic contribution, but also the social impact of deploying AI in Rwanda. This is back in 2022. We had previously estimated that AI was going to contribute 6% to the national GDP, along with lots of social benefits. But this is a pre-generative AI moment, so that was before ChatGPT really became mainstream, and now we have a sense that that was actually um, understated. So I think if we repeated the exercise, it's probably going to be a lot more. But along with that exercise, we redefined the priority sectors, which we identified to be healthcare, agriculture, and education, and that's where we are focusing our interventions today. And then in other priorities, we really try to think about what are the key policy enablers, what are the accelerators, and what are the safeguards that should be in place. So for the enablers, we're thinking about things like digital skills, AI literacy, AI expertise, data infrastructure, and the data strategy, as well as compute infrastructure. And then for accelerators, we committed to accelerating the adoption of AI in the public sector and as well as the private sector. And then we put, as far as safeguards, we also thought about developing ethical development and deployment guidelines for AI, which were also published in 2023. Moving on, we also learned that Rwanda was not going to do it alone. So we believe that South-South collaboration is quite important. And so in 2025, that's actually last year, we convened the globe. I was going to say the continent, but it was really the world, around the Global AI Summit on Africa, with the vision of really building, with the vision of establishing a platform where we can shape the governance of AI on the African continent, but really thinking about the global South in general. So that summit was held, the first version of that last year, and we want to be having it recurring, so it's coming back next year. As part of the summit, we also helped draft the Africa Declaration on AI, which was launched and adopted during the summit, and worked with the Smart Africa Gates Foundation and other partners to also, conceptualize and launch the Africa AI Council, which is an advisory body to Smart Africa for everything related to AI governance on the continent. So that is on the national AI policy development and kind of like our effort to strengthen the South-South collaboration. As part of this implementation journey, we've had to also test the value of AI by deploying lots of pilot projects in health, agriculture, and education as our focus sectors. But we learned that, our general observation were that, most of some of these projects were having difficulties when it comes to scaling the projects. And this is not just for Rwanda. It is an observation across most of global South countries. So we started to think about how can we have a model for scaling these use cases and make sure that they can go on to have the impact. So we worked with the Gates Foundation to launch, a form of this model called AI Scaling Hub. And the goal there is to take all of these use cases that we have developed as MVPs and the pilots and think about what they need to scale. So that includes providing compute resources for some of these teams that are developing solutions, making data accessible, but also working with the government to really support the policy and regulatory landscape to make sure that there's a conducive environment. So there is a lot of other things that we have done. I'm not gonna go into that because of the time. I want to move on to a few examples of South-South collaboration that goes beyond the Global AI Summit that we hosted. In 2024, we partnered with Singapore to develop an AI playbook for small states, thinking about the unique challenges that small states are facing and we wanted to develop a practical guideline for mostly for policymakers on how to navigate those challenges, such as challenges related to the size of the market for small states, representation in global training data sets, access to computing expertise. Again, those challenges are quite shared across most ecosystems, but they are even more pronounced for small states. Second example is our collaboration with UAE and Singapore. In 2022, we launched an AI fellowship, which was a thing of this Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution network, but wanted to see how we can use this network to really strengthen South-South collaboration. So we launched this platform as, rather this program as a platform for collaborating and making sure that we can learn from each other's experience to strengthen each other's ecosystem. And as a result of that initiative, last year, Rwanda actually mandated that all civil servants take an AI fluency and literacy course. And we worked with UAE Center and the Dubai Center for AI to have over 100,000 civil servants in Rwanda take this certification course from the platform in at the Dubai Center for AI, 1 million prompters program. So learning from really like learning from this experience of South collaboration and our contribution to making sure that we can collaborate. We've learned that there is lots of benefits, and there are tangible outputs, at least from our own collaboration within Africa, but also beyond Africa, in places such as UAE and Singapore. And we really recommend that we invest a lot more resources and effort in supporting these types of collaboration. That's why at the AI Scaling Hub, we have a dedicated work stream, which is around knowledge sharing. We are positioning it as a learning node where different policymakers, but also implementers and technical experts that are implementing solutions in different spaces could really collaborate and share their knowledge. And the Global AI Summit is coming back again next year. So we really encourage partners to join us and support these types of platforms. Over.
Thank you so much, colleagues. I'm going to invite the next set of speakers to come and join me at the front. Miss Rama Devi Lanka, who is the lead at the Frontier Tech Hub for state-led engagement within NITI Aayog within the Government of India. Miss Irene Karungi Sekitoleko, who's the Senior ICT Infrastructure Engineer within the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance in the Government of Rwanda. Ms. Sipakazi Umvukuza, who is the Director of Cybersecurity within the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies of South Africa, and Mr. Maxwell Ababio, Head of Technology and Ethics within the Data Protection Commission of Ghana. So, Ms. Lanka, would you like to speak from there? Wonderful, thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Are you all listening or bored? Yeah. Well, I thank HSRC and GIZ Pay Forward for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences, our policies, our initiatives with each other, with different nations today. And this is, I think, third or fourth time I'm actually part of these discussions. And it's a great learning platform, for different countries. So I'll just touch upon the national policy in India for the sake of our, international visitors here, and also what we are doing in NITI Aayog in terms of AI specifically. So I'm Rama Devi Lanka. Earlier I worked, I led the Emerging Technologies Hub in the state of Telangana, and recently moved to NITI Aayog. And my primary role is to work with different states in India, take frontier technologies to them. And at Frontier Technologies, what we do is we go one step ahead. Now we are working on AI implementation and all. But under Frontier Tech Hub in Niti Aayog, we look a little bit ahead, and see what are the mega technology shifts that are happening across globally, and advise government, what are the policy, frameworks or policy policies that they need to bring in to be ahead of the curve in those new technologies. That's what we do at Niti Aayog as part of Frontier Tech Hub. So coming to the national AI mission, I think I see a few Indians here, so you might be aware of it, but I still, would like to mention about it because it's a fantastic initiative by Government of India. India AI mission, it has been set up in 2024 with a budget outlay of 10,000 crores, and there are six pillars under it. And everybody, earlier spoke about infrastructure. Infrastructure is one of the key pillars. 10,000 GPUs have been, being issued to students, researchers, startups, state governments, academic institutions, and so on at a subsidized cost of 60 rupees is what we call for an hour, which is less than a dollar combined. If it's compared with other nations, it's far, far less in cost because we wanted to accelerate, the adoption of AI, the development of AI in India. That's one. Second, AI models. Again, at the end of the day, when you look at AI, you need infrastructure, models, data, right? These are three things. So models, Government of India is looking at, sovereign models is what we call LLMs, because India, Indians speak 22 different languages, and we need a sovereign model of our own. So Bharat Jan, and we have another Sarvam AI, they're working on Indian-based, LLMs, so that um, especially we are looking at, voice-based AI, because when a farmer really needs an advice, he should be able to just pick up a phone, and say, how is the weather today? What do I sow? When do I sow? In his own native language. That's what we are looking at, So models is one, data is another one, and all of you who are in the AI space agree with me that, data is one of the core areas. Is that 17 seconds just left? 17. Okay. I was just okay, thank you. Okay. So Government of India has set up a data platform, about 2000 data sets are available which startups, universities can, data is another one. And at the end of the day, as earlier speakers also mentioned about this, responsible AI is one of the core thing that whatever India does, So they have set up an AI safety institute that looks into governance, ethics, biases, and so on. Skilling is another pillar, so I'm not going much into that because of the time constraint. That's what India AI mission is doing. Now, today, if you look at the length and breadth of the country, schools, students, colleges, universities, startups, companies, they're actually, doing fantastic job in AI. That's the outcome of the India AI mission. So now moving on to the Niti Aayog's role, As I said, we look at one step ahead. But with specific to AI, what we are looking at is, how do we leverage the potential of AI in various sectors? For example, India has a vision of becoming a developed nation by 2047, that's called Viksit Bharat. So, and we are looking at 30 to 40 trillion dollars, GDP is what we are looking at. While traditional ways of, increasing this GDP has certain limitations. So we are looking at, can AI actually accelerate that, vision of achieving that 30 to 40 trillion dollars. So what we are doing, we came out with a roadmap called AI for economic development. Maybe other countries can also look at this, wherein we are identifying key sectors that can be become more productive and contribute to the GDP. Example, banking, manufacturing, automobiles. These are the sectors, if they adopt AI, the productivity can increase by 10 times, and that could contribute to the GDP. That's one unlock that we are looking from AI. The second unlock, R&D. Can we identify innovative areas, growth engines that can, contribute to our GDP? So you can actually, get this report on Niti Aayog's FTH, Frontier Tech Hub website. So have a look at it. It's a very good report. That's one. Second, the other report that we came out with was AI for, we have about 490 million informal workforce. So they are carpenters, you know, small works they do, but they contribute about more than 50% to the GDP of India. Carpenters, construction workers, artisans, plumbers, electricians, and so on. So we actually came out with a roadmap, to identify what are the technologies that can actually increase their productivity, improve their livelihoods. And some of the systemic barriers that they are facing are, trust. When a plumber or a cook comes to you and says, I need a job, you don't really trust her or him. So can we build a credential system for them that actually helps them to get jobs? That's number one. Second, can we actually identify tools that actually help them to do the job better and improve their income and so on? So that's another report that we have come out. So I request all of you to just look at those reports. And the last one that I would like to talk about is the South-South cooperation, which is a very important aspect of today's discussion today. So please let me know how much time I have. I'm really conscious. Okay. So South-South cooperation, while each country is doing its own, in terms of adopting and accelerating AI. So can we, countries within the South-South, exchange experiences, ideas, and initiatives? For example, uh, in Telangana and even government of India, we have built this data exchanges. So countries like Indonesia, Kenya, Rwanda, can they actually take the know-how? Because to do that initially, it takes at least a year, to build that kind of system. That time can be cut down if we actually borrow this knowledge or exchange this knowledge with each. And that's one. Data exchanges is one that I've actually indicated. I'm not able to see from here, so so yeah, sure. DPIs, digital public infrastructure, is another area. India is a leader in this area, and all of you are aware of UPI stack payments. So in fact, we are looking at AI in whatever AI in DPI is what we are looking at. So digital public infrastructure, it cut down the cost, and it can be implemented at scale. What India has shown in different areas, Jan Dhan, that try this thing. So that's an area where probably all of us can actually, India can support different countries in adopting these DPIs. And the third one, yeah, playbooks for successful initiatives. In fact, at Niti Aayog, we have developed a repository of use cases that's right now available on the website. So this is a great tool, these use cases are solutions developed by different startups, companies in the areas of agriculture, education, you name it, across the spectrum. They're actually available on a single platform. So if any country or any state would like to implement a particular solution in agriculture, they can just go to the website. If there are available solution, look at it. That fantastic innovative solutions. They can just pick up and look at if it's suitable to them. Yeah, these are some of the few areas that we thought. And I just want to mention one thing. Last year when we met in Kenya, actually we have discussed a couple of initiatives, and one initiative that is being implemented in Telangana is soil analysis. So in fact, my former colleague Anand asked me to convey this. That project has been implemented successfully. That is one of the outcomes of our discussions in Kenya. Just wanted to mention that. And thank you. So I didn't speak much about AI governance, responsible AI, while that is at the core of everything we do. But I wanted to focus on the opportunities and the potential of AI, for South countries. That was my intention. Thank you all.
Good morning. I hope it's not yet midday. Yes, good morning, gentlemen and ladies. I'm so honored to be here to speak on behalf of Uganda. Uganda is a country in East Africa. Our neighboring countries are Rwanda, Kenya, DRC, and Republic of South Sudan, and Tanzania. So I'm here to just give a few highlights of what Uganda to date has been able to achieve and implement, and what we foresee in the future for cooperation with the global South countries. Over the past years, Uganda has taken deliberate evidence-based steps to build a trusted and inclusive AI ecosystem. Now, AI is one of the technologies that we're considering. In 2021, Uganda, we developed a report to be able to understand what are these emerging technologies and what can we harness from these emerging technologies. This report was focusing on what opportunities are available for us with these emerging technologies. To date, we are currently now we've conducted a comprehensive national AI landscape assessment, which is now directly informing the national AI strategy that we are developing. So Uganda, we are looking at harnessing AI as one of the emerging technologies. Why? Because we also have the digital transformation roadmap, which was developed in 2024, which positions AI as a national priority for our country. This ensures that AI supports socio-economic transformation in our key sectors, which is one of them being agriculture, health, and delivery of public services. We've also enacted a personal data protection and privacy law because we recognize that we need to have trusted data governance in the foundation as a foundation for responsible AI. Second, Uganda has focused on strengthening institutions as well as people. In 2025, last year, we established a multi-sectoral national AI task force under the Ministry of ICT and national guidance, particularly to coordinate policy, to align implementation across the different sectors, government and stakeholders, as well as guide ethical governance. At the same time, Uganda, we have invested in capacity building, not just for public servants such as myself, but also for the citizens. So these are different courses, but we've also enhanced most of our higher institutions of learning are now setting up different laboratories, undertaking lots of research to be able to come up with AI solutions to solve some of our key problems. Thirdly, Uganda is aligning also with global standards and ethical frameworks. Currently, Uganda, we are undertaking a readiness assessment for ethical AI. We're doing this together with support with UNESCO, and we are also currently supporting the part of the membership of looking at global AI supervisory networks. The Ministry of ICT is the spearheading on this from Uganda side. We also hosted the Global AI Innovation Movement and Evolution Conference in Kampala recently, which shows that Uganda, we are doing our best to position our country as a regional platform for dialogue on responsible AI. So looking forward, what are we looking forward in terms of providing immense value in, we are looking at deeper cooperation with partners across Africa and Asia. Particularly, we are learning from several of the global South countries, such as India. Currently, our national ID card was actually developed based on the shared principles for DPI. But we're also looking at learning a bit more on how trusted digital identity can enable secure and scalable AI-driven services. We are also looking at having closer policy collaboration among global South countries, such as harmonized governance approaches. So we cannot have silos, but how do we harmonize these approaches? One of them is currently we have the ESC, East African Community, that is now currently working on an AI strategy, and this is being done alongside our national AI strategy. So there's a lot of stakeholder engagements with the different neighboring countries in East Africa, so that our national AI strategy actually speaks and aligns to the regional AI strategy. We're also looking at collaboration in having common guidelines for emerging technologies such as generative AI. A lot of our citizens are now very taking up, these generative AI applications like ChatGPT and the like. So how do we as government be able to have proper guidelines that take into consideration these emerging technologies like Gen AI? Finally, Uganda believes that our shared future lies in joint investment in skills, research, and in infrastructure. We do have challenges such as compute power, we have limited data sets, and we also have a bit of limited skill set. So we're looking at collaboration in that area, and the possible ways we're looking at is having exchange programs with global south countries, some research partnerships, and also looking at shared compute capacity and multilingual data sets so that AI solutions reflect our local context and we're able to serve our people. In closing, we are building AI on a foundation of trust, ethics, and collaboration, and we look forward to working with partners across Africa and Asia to ensure AI accelerates inclusive and sustainable development. Thank you very much.
I shouldn't have looked at the time. Uh, Good day, colleagues. I'll try and be very quick. I'm in cybersecurity, so as a technical person, we don't speak a lot. Um, South Africa, our journey in AI started in 2024 when we then had a framework and we've done all the public consultations, we've done all the clusters, we've done quite few of the processes, and end of this month, we're taking it to Parliament for approval, and we hope to have an AI policy by March. So one of the things that we decided that we need to look at is our existing legislation, which is the POPIA Protection of Personal Information Act and Cybercrimes Act. And my role in the whole AI policy was to look at the cybersecurity protocols to make sure that we have data protection. So, and our president had commissioned a presidential commission on 4IR, which then led to the development of AI hubs. And that also led to us having to have the policy. So we partnered with the universities, 4 of them. So we have 4 AI hubs and we're hoping to have more once we have the policy. So the process is quite very long, and I think the colleagues have also touched on some of the issues, but I won't go to them because it's the same issues that we face, especially with African countries. So now I would like to look at the South to South cooperation, which is very, very critical for us to shape the AI governance that supports innovation, but while we protect the rights and ensuring accountability in the use of it. So we, first of all, we would like to look at peer exchange for the regulation. We can work together to design an innovation-friendly regulatory approaches. We can have our AI regulatory sandboxes where innovators can test these systems, but to ensure that it's under supervision, then government can learn while supporting this responsible innovation. And the second one on compute partnerships, South Africa is partnered with Microsoft, who has pledged 300 million rands on AI systems and on AI infrastructure. I think the colleagues have also indicated the issue of AI infrastructure. And also you have countries like Kenya that you can collaborate in with their G42 from the UAE. And we can also explore these approaches. And thirdly, minimum common principles for data sharing. I think we all saw what was the issue with the COVID-19 when it came to data sharing mechanisms. So we can develop use cases on that, for example, on health surveillance and epidemic response, drawing from those lessons. In conclusion, through peer learning on regulation, shared compute partnership, and trusted data sharing principles, the Global South can build an inclusive, sovereign, and innovative driven AI together. I think together we can do more and make sure that we have a responsible AI and accountable. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I think I'm the tallest one here, right? And the last with the last minute. But anyway, I'm going to make my conversation a bit straightforward. So, good afternoon, everyone, my fellow policymakers, everyone. Maxwell Ababu from Ghana with the Data Protection Commission and from West Africa. So, quickly, we started this 2022 till now, and there was a stakeholder engagement, which is very critical to us because we have to make sure we involve every single party in drafting this, and it has been done and been submitted to the cabinet, waiting for approval. And another thing we talked about, which was very important for us to consider, is the cabinet ministers, because when a policy document is being submitted to these higher authorities, sometimes we do forget to get them involved at the early stages. So there's always a bottleneck. We are waiting for approval. We are waiting for approval. So we did a workshop with the cabinet ministers to understand the importance of this policy and its effect in the various, as in the country as Ghana as a whole. So we did that, and it went on successfully. During that program, we also did, we came up with something called AI focal persons for each ministry. If we have Ghana as a data protection, our act mandate that every ministry is supposed to have a data protection supervisor to see the lawful process of personal information. So why don't we also consider having focal people for AI who are also going to oversee the relevance of adoption of AI in various ministries, so that it wouldn't be like a cut and paste. And also we did that. And there was a capacity building training for prompt engineering for chief directors and the ministries. Now, as we speak, a lot of people are using the Gen AI tools. Most of them don't understand the risk of putting all this information there when they are not properly done or having an understanding of it. So we did the training for them, and it went on successfully. On the South to South cooperation, during our AI strategy, we did some benchmarking with Rwanda to learn about their implementation, and it went on successfully. And this network, the POMANet, we've been meeting, as Rachel said, and we've been sharing ideas all these years. So I think it's been done. And the cross-border, which is another important thing. And the interesting thing is at the continental level, we've come up with a cross-border data framework, which is also going to help, which I think one of our colleagues said, trust is actually the issue now. Once you have trust, sharing information becomes easy. If not, then we are all going to live in a truth economy where we don't trust every information we share with each other. So I'm bringing my conversation to an end, and I think whatever I have to say has been already been said. So thank you very much, and I think we get to see.
Okay, thank you very, very much. As we welcome in the next session, I just want to thank all of our speakers and thank you so much, Maxwell, for ending on the point of trust. Thank you all. Have a good set of conversations.